Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to the Spiritual Roundtable right here at Star Nation's organization's main fan page on Facebook. And today is Wednesday, May 6th. I was on earlier. You'd think I would remember the date, but like the rest of you, time is doing some wonky things around here. And so sometimes it feels like a whole day has already happened. But anyway, welcome to the Spiritual Roundtable. And this is the afternoon during the week version of the Spiritual Roundtable, where we have a spiritual conversation around the card draws, the divination cards that I draw in the morning on Wednesday morning for information about our spiritual path for the week. And so, for those that are just joining us, this is the cards that we're currently still using, the Sacred Spirit Reading Cards by Anna Stark. And it's a very interesting card read again. I can't wait to get to it. We have 3 cards today, so it's going to be kind of busy. But before we get started, I'm going to send this live stream over to my newsfeed and to let my friends know that I'm live streaming. And if I'll just take a minute, just a second or two. Depends on how fast I type. Okay, here we are. And I would invite you to do the same. Maybe if you know of somebody who enjoys spiritual conversations, number one. And today, the information that's coming through has a lot to do with communication. So somebody who is wanting some information about that. So I'm just sending my friends a little note here. And then just please join. There we go. I'll do that. And I don't remember. I think I already sent it over to the groups. I think I did that one already. And so I just need to send it over to a couple people in Messenger. And make sure I don't double send it to somebody. And yikes. Gotta remember Janet. And Carol. There we go. I think we got everybody. Yep. All right, there we go. Thanks for being patient with me with that. I got to turn down my sound. Okay, there we go. And plug in my phone because it's low on juice. You know how they like to use electricity. All right. All right. So welcome, everybody. I'm so glad you're here with me in the afternoon. Everybody that's in the live chat. We got Rob's here. Hello, Rob. Seems more jerky than wonky. Janky than wonky. Well, I suppose. It's interesting. Hey, Andrew. Andrew's here too. Good to have you here, guy. Yeah, it's just, Tuesdays are usually pretty busy around here, and I'm used to that. But when you throw Wednesday in at the same time, it gets kind of, this morning I ended up doing the live stream for the daily meditation from here, my office at home, rather than the meditation room or the academy, which is where I usually go when we drum, is up to the academy. But we have people working up there. They're washing the building and also preparing the deck for sealant. And so, it was going to be kind of loud up there. So I couldn't go up there. So anyway, it just kind of, took all the usual stuff that happens on Wednesday and kind of throws them up in the air, and you kind of figure out where they're going to land and how to best navigate it. And it makes life interesting. That's for sure. Hey, Peggy's here too. Hello, Peggy. Good to have you here. We're gonna get started with the cards because we have 3 of them today. And this is the deck that we're still using, Sacred Spirit Reading Cards by Anna Stark. and the illustrator is Lewis Dyer, and they're both from Australia. So you know that we have that Australian lens, a filter over the information, and it makes it, I think, very interesting to see or to feel spiritual information from another perspective, right? So it's going to be kind of interesting. I can't wait for you guys to weigh in on this one. This card has come up numerous times in the last month. Numerous times. Out of 4 times, probably at least 3. And this is the 4th. Okay. So whenever a card comes up multiple times, it's information that we really have to take in, pay attention to, because Spirit is saying, excuse me, but you need to talk about this one again. You need to take in more information about this one again. And so when I do the card draw in the morning, I knock on the cards to knock out the energy from the previous time. I use the cards, right? And I ask my full spiritual team to come in and to please show me the information, the energy that's flowing this week for us to know about, that's in our highest good to know about, that can help us along in our spiritual journey, our soul contract, right? And for our highest good. And so that is the consistent request every week. And this particular card then comes up the 4th time. Emotional challenges. Trying to get my camera to focus. There we go. Resolve the issue. It's number 13 in the deck. That's a 4 in numerology. Resolve the issue. Emotional challenges. I'm letting you take a look at the card even more. You know, the tears, or the melting off, someone said last time, you know, getting captured, held by the palms. It looks like a pond or a lake, doesn't it? A reservoir of emotion, water, held in the hands. You know, and you take a look at, it almost looks like there's a mask, doesn't it? And at the third eye, or near the third eye, and try to get my camera to focus again. To me, you know, as I spent some time with this particular card, that white light just above the brows in the center at the third eye, it reminds me, the shape of it reminds me of a water bird. And the water bird is a symbol of the Native American church. It's a symbol of a Christed being, right? You might even say, you know, is there information coming in or information going out? There's a lot of movement in this card too, wouldn't you say? Yeah. Emotional challenges. Come on, focus. Resolve the issue. Okay. So this is the 4th time this card has come up, which really means that we have to pay attention to it, right? Really take it in. So here's the thing. Before I start giving the information, I probably should have done this before I even showed you the card, is that if you have not done your grounding meditation today, your grounding, centering, protecting, please do it right now. It just takes a moment. Put your attention on it, right? And get grounded. because that way you can take in whatever the information is from a place that will allow you to be centered when you take it in, right? So you can really absorb whatever it is for you from a very empowered place, okay? Yeah. Hey, Julie. Oh, I do that all the time. Because what I do, I work from home, and so a lot of times I'll have someone else's live stream on and listen to it while I'm working. So thanks for joining us, even though you're busy. And so after your grounding, just asking that your team assists you in taking in the information, and understanding it as best you can with as much clarity as you can. Okay. All right. Just giving you a moment to do that. And I'm going to show you the card again. All right. Here we go. Emotional challenges. Resolve the issue. Express yourself clearly. Express yourself clearly. So with that said, here's another take on this is perhaps because the very, very first time we had this card, I didn't realize or didn't see that it could have been tears. To me, it looked like something was melting off from this person, right? And perhaps it has a lot to do with clarity, being able to perceive clearly. That sometimes our eyes are covered, our physical eyes are covered. And we have to rely on our spiritual eye, our third eye. And truly, that's probably the best information that comes through. At least, anyway, for me. Right? Yeah. It's a very interesting card. And Peggy's saying the white reminds me of a breath out. Yeah, it can, doesn't it? Even with the nose, if you look at his nose, or what's supposed to be his nose, maybe, is you have all that brightness moving in the downward direction, right? Almost like maybe a release. Is that what you're talking about, Peggy? It's almost like a release. And the tip of the nose is like an pointing, an arrow pointing down. Right? Yeah. She's saying from pineal and third gland release with breath. Yeah. I could see that. I can see that. See, here is what the author has to say. She says, it's not uncommon for individuals to experience regular emotional challenges. That's a part of us being two-legged, right? Humans. Our emotions and what we experience through our emotions is really tied to our life lessons and how we grow and how we gain our wisdom. It all happens all together, right? All connected. It says a part of the human experience is to go through different stages of the emotional wheel, from love, joy, and happiness to grief, sadness, and betrayal. Not all emotions can be conveyed at once, and therefore a process of understanding our current and past feelings to move forward with an issue or challenge is essential. Right? So how many people, including yourself, do you know that have felt overwhelmed, and especially in the past couple of months, right? And as empaths in the past couple of months, especially early on, like in January and February, many of us, felt that overwhelm because we could feel a whole lot of stuff going on out there, and quite pinpoint, what was this? What is this? Why is there so much fear and panic and, and all of that, right? And so in order to really understand what those emotions and feelings are about, sometimes we have to experience them kind of individually and say, okay, what was that one? That one felt like whatever, anger. And then you take the next one because you're feeling overwhelmed, right? And so you have to try to take it and look at it from different perspectives to say, okay, what was that one, right? And so you're kind of dissipating or taking down the feeling of being overwhelmed a few notches. It's almost like what Peggy said about the exhale, right? So that we can actually feel what those emotions are, so we can understand them. What are we supposed to do with it? And then move into the action part, which is, healing it, releasing it, whatever we have to do with it, right? Yeah. Julie is saying overwhelmed, raising both hands. Yeah. Yeah, and that's why it's so important really to do our grounding and centering and protecting, right? So that we don't feel quite so overwhelmed, like we're run over by a truck. We don't like that feeling. All right, she goes on to say that we can't always be light and fluffy. We must acknowledge feelings such as anger and bitterness. And right now, you are experiencing an emotional challenge. You may have been hurt by others, either physically or emotionally. Know that you have the resilience and the strength you need within to overcome this challenge in life. So here's another piece of the overwhelm, right? Is that you may have been home with your family members more than you've had in a really, really long time, right? And so, as most families, because we came in together, we're learning our life lessons together, right? And many of our family members play a certain role for us in that. And sometimes being around them can be quite challenging. And especially if you have things that have occurred between you, and it was never taken care of. It was never talked about. There was no apologies going in either direction. No chance to really understand the position of the other person. And so there's a lot of emotions and feelings that are suppressed, right? And then you keep adding more on top of it because now you're in your home space together all the time. That eventually something's got to give, right? Something has to get brought up. And here's the part where it's kind of hard to do, because then you start reaching into the past of what caused it, and you're set off by something in the present, and then you'll say something like, "And that one time 3 years ago or 10 years ago, you said or did this to me," right? Have you ever done that? Try not to, right? You try not to, because we've been working on healing past traumas, right? And so hopefully you dealt with that one, but there's always layers. There's always layers. Yeah. And then the other, to add to that, then you have maybe you're not working as much as you were, and so there's a financial situation on top of that, and maybe you are dealing directly with the virus. Maybe there's somebody that you directly know that you are in the house with that has or had the virus, and so you put the not feeling well on top of it, right? So you can understand the feeling of overwhelm, right? You can understand that. And I think what this card is saying is that we need to express ourselves as in a healthy way as we possibly can, so that we can have some release and some relief, right? And perhaps we actually get to reach a resolution of some past hurt or bad feelings about something with one of our family members or friends or something like that, right? So we have tools. We have our tools that we can use to get there. And I believe that the author in her channeling this work when she says, know that you have the resilience and the strength you need within to overcome the challenge in life. The resilience. And to remember that this is a temporary phase, that you must acknowledge your emotions now if you would like to move forward quickly. It's important to remember not to dwell on events for too long, as they can keep you stuck and stagnant in life. In other words, when something occurs and we ruminate it, right? We keep going over and over and over it. We have that conversation in our head multiple times, or we tell ourselves, oh, I should have said this, or I should have done that. Why didn't I? Right? We can fill in the blank. And we keep going over and over and over it. And even if it just happened yesterday or 2 days ago, if you're still going over it, you're living part of your energy in the past, right? You're allocating some of your energy into the past rather than being in the present and dealing with the situation in the present, whether it's expressing your emotions, your feelings around it, getting assistance or help with it, right? Whatever that is. Yeah. Rob is saying overwhelmed is the new deal with it. Really? Yeah, I suppose, but that doesn't that go with just let it go. There is some truth to that, is just to let it go. But is it letting it go because you can see the bigger picture? Or is it let it go, cover it up? I don't want to go there because it's too hard. It's too hurtful. It's just too much, right? So which is it? You have to decide that for yourself. Rochelle, hey, Rochelle's here. Hello. Oh, good to have you both here. We are 7 feet apart. Good to know. Rob says, I was being sardonic. Okay. Doesn't matter because you delivered a message. It doesn't matter. If you delivered a message, I think that we have to really take a look at that because this card has come up. This is the 4th time. So we really have to look at how are we communicating? How are we expressing ourselves? Right? We have an opportunity for real growth in this situation. And is there any vestiges of anything that you're suppressing and not expressing? Right? And in some ways, taking on what Peggy said, it's that exhale, it's that release, right? Releasing yourself from whatever that is. And go ahead, if you need to cry about it again, go ahead and cry. Right? Allowing whatever is covering your eyes and seeing with clarity. And trusting your own intuition. Right? Trusting yourself, that your higher self, your soul already knows. It's leaning into that, discerning. So attempt mediation to remove the emotional charge out of the conversation so all parties can be heard and express themselves. Remember, you can only heal something that you choose to acknowledge. So that mediation, that assistance can come from many different sources. You can take care of that in the physical sense where you might have somebody to come in and facilitate for you if that's what you need, right? It's also a way to be able to do this and to cover the mental body as well, right? That's the vocalization, that's the actual speaking about it, engaging that part of your brain. And it's covering the emotional body because you're now addressing it, you're speaking about it, you're feeling the feelings and sharing what that is for you, right? And it's also covering your spiritual body because you can turn to your spiritual team to be part of that mediation, to help you to those on your spiritual team who assists you in expressing, to help you to express what you're feeling in a graceful way from your heart, right? To help you have courage to say what needs to be said, right? From your heart. Yeah. Julie's saying the movie in my mind, past conversations or situations, I'm learning compassion with myself. Forgive myself for the monkey mind jumping around in the past situation. Yes. Right. And sometimes we have to really be honest with ourselves too. What part of that do we replay over and over again? Because sometimes it's because we want to prove that we're right. Right? I was right in that and I want to prove it. And so you keep going over that piece and then that's our egoic self, right? And sometimes that's also our inner child that wants to be right. Stamp that foot and say, I'm right. We have to be honest with ourselves. And sometimes we try to prove that we're right, even when it means that it's going to become a block in moving that situation toward resolution, right? Yeah. But see, all of that, this is my 2 cents. All of that has to do with our life lessons, what we're here to learn and master, right? And we can do it because we have all of the tools possible to us. We have everything we need for it, which I think is great. All right. So she goes on to say is that please seek a suitable professional that can help you unpack this emotional baggage and get to the real cause of the issue. If you need assistance like that, ask your spiritual team to help you to bring to you the best possible professional therapist for them to help, and also all of the resources that you need for that to occur. In other words, if you need the money in place, if you need child care, pet care, elder care, whatever that is that you need to be able to get that assistance from that professional, is to put your team on it. Let them help you. Ask them to do that. Okay. All right. And Peggy is saying, I get overwhelmed with unresolved stuff. I try to use gratitude because accepting is hard. I do it and then it comes up again. That's that ruminating over it because it's still there. And it comes up to the surface, right? You could be out there, Peggy, I bet you, minding your own beeswax, right? Minding your own beeswax, and then something will come up. Whether you see the person, see their name, someone else mentions them to you, or you see something that reminds you of that situation, whether it's on television, in a song, on a billboard, you're just minding your own business, and there it is, right in front of you again, right? Yeah. For me, that is my spiritual team's way of saying it's coming to the surface. You have everything you need right now to take care of it. You have everything you need. And so when it comes to the surface, the truth is also there, because the truth always comes to the surface. If you wait long enough, it'll get there. It'll get there. And so the next time something floats to the surface for you, Peggy, my suggestion is to turn to your spiritual team and say, okay, I'm ready. What do I have to do to take care of this piece? Show me the way. What's my next best step? Right? Yeah. And ask for their help. Oh no, really? Really? I just lost you as you're helping me. When stuff comes to the surface, when the stuff comes to the surface, acknowledge that you have everything that you need right now to take care of this, to resolve it. Turn to your spiritual team and your full team, the whole team, all of them, and ask them to show you what is your next best step, because you're ready. I'm ready to heal this. I'm ready to let this go, to release it. Show me what's my next best step to do that. You can always add those other pieces, like with grace and ease, right? For my highest good, that sort of thing. Because if it comes to the surface, Peggy, that's your spiritual team showing you, telling you that you're ready. You have exactly what you need to take care of this so that you can let it go. Okay? All right. Good one. Now, let's move on to the second card. Oops, I forgot to read the affirmation. The affirmation for this card. Okay? It says, I acknowledge and express my emotions with ease and grace. I acknowledge and express my emotions with ease and grace. With ease and grace. All of them. All of them. The ones that some of us would deem negative, that would mean anger, fear, jealousy, any of those, is to acknowledge them and that they're present, and then why are they present, right? But also expressing and acknowledging all the good ones, the joy, the happiness, the love, right? So that you're in full expression of your being. And I know we're all working on it. We're all getting there. Some days better than others, right? Some days better than others. All right. So here's the second card. Oh, sorry, Rob. Here we go. It says, the biggest thing I found to help was the heart meditation we learned on Sunday. That was the first time I was able to actually be in the heart. Aw, I'm so glad you shared that, Rob. The tiny space meditation. Yeah. It's one of my go-tos. It is. And it's the one that has helped me immensely, immensely. And we're going to be doing that one again. We'll be offering it again. So anybody that missed that one, don't worry. You'll have your chance. You really will. Okay. Thank you for Rob for sharing that. Yeah, because it's been a really big help for me too. That's why I teach it. All right. So here's the second card. And this second card has come up just as many times. These two cards usually come together. And the last time we had this was the one in the first position. And the release emotions, what was the name of that? Emotional challenges was in the second position. So here we go. Astral travel. Caution needed. Such a brightness above his head, isn't it? See the flower of life in the background? Wouldn't you say that light is brilliant? Brilliant. Astral travel. Caution needed. Observe your surroundings. Observe your surroundings. Okay. So before we get into what the author has to say about that one, I took both these cards and I sat with them for a moment, and I was asking my team, so why do these two keep coming out together? What is it that we're to pay attention to? Right? And here's what I got. Because as humanity as a whole, right? All over grandmother earth, we've all experienced this isolation, this shelter in place, the effects of the virus, whether we were personally affected by it or we watched or we were the observer of it, right? Worldwide. Receiving a whole lot of information of all kinds. And those of us that are empathic, those of us that feel that overwhelm, it's just not our own emotions and what our emotions relate to the whole collective too, but it's the as a how do I say this? Kuai Yin, Kuai Yin, right? And she chose to stay in between. She chose not to move on to her next spiritual experience that way, but she chose to stay because that she so loved humanity, right? That she wanted to be here to help us, and that she hears the cries of the entire world, right? So she has such deep compassion, right? Such deep compassion. And so here we are in the midst of this pandemic, and we're taking in a whole bunch of information, and we're watching and feeling things like the number of people who died in Italy, or what the Navajo Nation is going through right now. The workers, the medical workers, and their fatigue and working such long hours, the whole thing, right? We're taking it all in. There's a way to be able to discern what's true, what's the truth, and what is the stirring of the pot, so that there's many more people who are in fear, right? And that has to do with our astral body. That has to do with the connection to our spirit being, our soul. At a soul level, we know the truth. At a soul level, we know exactly what's going on. Right? We know that we have to discern for ourselves what we're seeing and how those feelings come through to us, those emotions, right? So this is why it's really imperative. It's vital that you're grounded, that you're centered, and that you're protected, so that we can take in the information that's out there in all its forms, and we can sense for ourselves, and that's discerning from our soul level. Is this the truth? What am I supposed to do with this? Am I supposed to do anything with this? Is this for the highest good? What is this? Right? And those of us who do know how to do the astral travel, yes, we can go and check out a certain place. As long as you're protected and you're going out there, go with your team. They won't let anything happen to you. And go look for yourself. You don't have to rely on the social media. You don't have to rely on the major network channels. You can discern it for yourself. Take their information and you say, okay, is that a truth? Or is this something to manipulate? And you can determine that for yourself. And your overwhelmness will go down a few notches. It will. Because at a soul level, you already know. You already know. We all know at a soul level, right? Yeah. All right. So Julie says there's a full moon tomorrow night, but it's very full now. I'm feeling the energy strongly. Yeah. Yeah, I saw it last night too. It actually it's pretty beautiful. Rob says, interesting enough, the way in was to use some of the theories of Gregor Cantor, the only mathematician to find himself in trouble with the church for his theories. Isn't that interesting? Talk about a mystery school, huh? Julie says, I've been singing Man in the Mirror all day. I'm going to make a change for once in my life. I'm going to feel real good, going to make a difference. Julie, that just right at my crown chakra. So for me, that's sensing, that's a truth. So see what I mean? Is that we have to actually do those kinds of things and ask yourself, your higher self, your soul self, is that a truth? And you can feel it. And you can get this in a moment. It doesn't take a half hour. You could do this in the moment, but that is why it's important to be grounded, centered, and protected. So you can take in the information and find out for yourself what's a truth for you. What's a truth? Thank you, Julie. That was very helpful. And she's also saying, I love the video. My favorite scene is the Earth rise from the moon. Gets my feels every time. I know, right? It's good. So let's take a look at the Astral Travel card. One more time here. The caution is needed. It says astral travel can be described as a willful out-of-body experience, allowing a person to observe their physical surroundings. So to observe your physical surroundings, what's really there? What's the truth, right? You can enter the gateway to the astral plane or astral realm with intention. Is a careful practice that must be aligned with intention, clarity, and soulful purpose. So have your clear intention. I want to know the truth. I want to know the divine truth. I want to see the truth for myself. I want to feel the truth, right? Yeah. Because we can all do that. It says a sacred portal to hidden realms, accessing the astral body allows you to travel and experience different realms of consciousness and universal experiences. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, ask your spiritual team to help you to understand it from a bigger picture, right? From a wider lens, the truth. What's going on? Why am I feeling this way? Why am I experiencing this again? Please show me the bigger picture. I would like to learn the clarity around this. Okay? All right. So she goes on to say, with astral travel, it is recommended that you travel with a buddy, such as an ascended master or archangel, for added spiritual safety. And each one of us have already on our spiritual teams those in spirit who are there to help us with that. We just have to ask them to go with us. I would like to travel too, state your destination, because I want the truth on blah, blah, blah. And those that help me with spiritual travel, please step forward and come with me. Show me the best way to do this, the safest way to do this, right? Okay. So primarily, an astral experiences allow individuals to be an observer. Some would call it remote viewing. Show me. I'd like to see this. I want to see it for myself. Astral information and experiences are affected by fear-based thoughts and energy frequencies. So keep your vibration high and alert your senses to any unwanted energetic connections that can influence you in a negative and spiritually abusive way. That's why it's so important to be protected, right? Most protection techniques, modalities, last about 12 hours, most of them. And I say about because it depends on what you take in, what you ingest, what you watch, what you listen to, right? Where you go, physically go, what you read, the music you listen to, the television shows you watch, the food that you take in, the beverages that you drink, they all matter in their frequency. And so you want to be consciously selecting items that are of a higher frequency, right? So that your energy field, your protective field, isn't compromised. And then that way you can relax and you can just go about your day. But remember to do your grounding, centering, and protecting in about 12 hours. So 12, once in the morning, once at night. And so you're covered 24 hours. And if you have a protective field that lasts longer than 24 hours, which is the only one I know of is the Merkaba. And that is 24/7, 365. You just want to make sure that you're turning your attention to it, remembering that it's there. And if you have any outdated programming, to update it or put in new programming. Okay. That's pretty simple. That one. It was hard. It was always work to get there, but what we have is really good. All right. So observe your surroundings and be aware of manipulation by others through psychic energy, speech, and planned social meetings. The affirmation, I am divinely protected. My soul is safe to explore my path with ease and grace. I'm going to say it again. I am divinely protected. My soul is safe to explore my path with ease and grace. With ease and grace. So whatever those emotional challenges, right? From without and within, because it's all rolled into one, right? Is that when you have your divine protection, that's one of your biggest tools to be able to go move through that experience. Okay. All right. Hey, Cindy's here. Hello, Cindy. She says, even though these are the same cards drawn the other days, there seems to be more information given in each. Yes. It's another layer. It's another way of looking at them, taking them in. She says, funny, I'm shopping for a Merkaba crystal. Well, that's good. I mean, crystals can certainly help you with shifting the energy in the space. But the Merkaba I'm talking about is the energetic one that you create around you. You already, it's getting it activated because we all came in with it. Yeah. So funny. Synchronicities. All right, here's the third card. And we've never had this card before. So I'm excited for you guys to see it. Okay. It says between worlds. It's a sea turtle. New directions. I love that yellow color. And for me, yellow is from the east, the spirit of the east. It's about the spirit of air and clarity. It's a very balanced card because a spirit of the east has sacred masculine. And look at the blues with the turtle, right? And the turtle is both a land and water. So there's a feminine, sacred feminine energy there as well. So we've got some balance going on in this card. Between worlds, new directions. You know, and depending on your belief system, the turtle medicine is also about abundance, creation, stability. And, you know, that first card that we had, the emotional challenges, that was a 13, right? Card 13, that's a 4. And that's about stability. That's about stability. The astral travel card was a 3. And so that takes in the ascended masters. That takes in, it's also a creative number. 3, 9, and 6 are creation numbers. Right? And this is number 5 in the deck. And 5 is about transformation. It's not exactly an easy number to have. It's a challenging number. It can be fun. If you're in the flow, it can be lots of fun. But if there's any resistance to the change, to the transformation, it can be a very owie card, both emotionally and physically. And they're saying mentally too. Yep. Hey, Jocelyn's here. Got here late. No, you didn't. Love the color in the turtle. Yeah, you're right in time. Hello, Christina. Good to have you here. Welcome to the Spiritual Roundtable. We're finishing up the third card. We had 3 cards today for the group card draw. All right. So, you know, and look at the turtle's face. I mean, let's see if I can get it in focus. There we go. And he is looking right at you. And the light language that's on his shell, on his flippers, or her flippers, I should say. Yeah. The energy swirls there, showing movement, right? Movement. Yeah. All right. So here's what the author has to say. She says that the ancient soul of the sea turtle travels on many journeys throughout its physical life. They are often visualized as the bridge between heaven and earth and the grounding spirit that supports the world and its people. That supports the world and its people. Remember what I said when I was asking my team, why are the previous 2 cards always coming in together? What is that? What do we need to notice about this? And it was all about the communication across the entire world, the information, and about discerning it. Right? What's a truth for you and what's not? What is causing the overwhelm, the emotional overwhelming? The guiding spirit that supports the world and its people. Turtles are independent travelers, always pushing forward in new directions. The nature of the sea turtle encourages exploration and experimentation at a steady pace. Patience is needed now as you encounter new opportunities that will directly affect your life decisions. While the turtle represents the patience of life and waiting for the right time, you are encouraged not to wait too long. Right? So, forward movement. If you have to take a new direction, because we're not going back to the old world. It's not. The energy field that we're in is completely different than what it was when we were first told we had to shelter in place, right? It's different. It's going to be different. It is different. It is different. And so I think that this card is basically telling us, hey, it's going to be okay. We need to adjust. Everybody has to adjust to the new direction. And many of us will have decisions to make about that direction. So everything comes in divine direction with the turtle totem. Try to avoid waiting too long to seize opportunities if they present themselves while the current movement or the momentum is present. So what we said before in the emotional challenges is when something for you comes to the surface, like you felt like you've already dealt with this. Why is it up here now again? Is because you have everything at your disposal to reach a resolution with that layer and to face it, to do what you need to do to heal it and release it, right? And so this card is basically telling us the same thing, is that when the opportunity rises to the surface, when the truth comes to the surface for you, is to act on it, is to act on it. You got your spiritual team for their assistance, connecting to your higher self, your soul self, because their soul already knows, right? So what's the best step for me to take? In what direction, right? Being in the right place at the right time is essential for the turtle. Be patient but assertive. Pay close attention to where you direct or channel your personal energy, as you can be led down opposing paths. Go with the flow and enjoy the journey and trust in the process of life. Okay. So we're back to the discerning again, right? A lot of information is going to come up, is already being put in front of us, right? And so we have to discern for ourselves what's the truth and what's not. And so being grounded, centered, and prepared and protected. I meant protected, prepared came out, right? Because it's going to help you be prepared to take in that information and to discern for yourself what's the truth, what's a truth, what's my truth, so that you can make that forward movement. And here's the affirmation. I trust in the flow of life. I am safe and protected in my soul's sacred journey. I like this affirmation. I do. I'm going to say it again. I trust in the flow of life. I am safe and protected in my soul's sacred journey. In my soul's sacred journey. Right? Now, I tell you what. I think that these three cards have told us quite a bit today. Right? That's a lot. Lots of changes, lots of shifts. Some people are calling it the great pause so that we could do that self-reflection. Some are calling it the great awakening. Some are calling it the event. Some are calling it the Great Shift. So many of us souls were there at Atlantis. And when all of that was changing, we were there at the fall, right? And so here we are in the same kind of energy. And so we now know that we have the tools to get the information, take a look at it, discern, make our own decisions based on our discerning and what is the truth for ourselves, right? And make the best possible decision in what direction to move in, to keep going, right? Forward movement. All right, so we know that when we take a look at all three cards together, we need to take a big, deep breath in. And on the exhale, asking your spiritual team to be there with you and to help you take in as much of the information that's optimal for you, right, in the optimal way. Okay, so here we go. Here are all three cards together. Okay, we started out with emotional challenges. Feeling your emotions, expressing your emotions in a healthy way. In that expression, is lowering the overwhelm. And if you need help with that, is to request help. That you have everything that you need to resolve a situation for your highest good. So you can heal it and release it. But it's also about discerning what are those feelings and emotions out there in the world as an empath. Asking why am I feeling this? Why is this coming to me? And how am I to work with this to release it? And the astral travel, the one in the center, is that in our spirit body, we can go anywhere and we're an observer. And to go with help, our spiritual team, we can get the information from our higher self that we need to make decisions from the physical world, in the physical world, to help us discern what's the truth. And the sea turtle, now compared to the other two, that's a happy card, don't you think? The sea turtle, about being protected on our spiritual journey, taking in the change, moving forward, basically telling us everything is going to be just fine. It's going to be good, better than fine. It's going to be good. And for ourselves, but also for all of humanity, the whole world, all our relatives. Right? We have to mind our own vibration, Let's keep our vibration as high as we possibly can. Yeah, love it. Journey is a spiral. Yes, it is. It certainly is. There's nothing in nature is a straight line, right? Nothing in nature is a straight line. So there you have it. We're at the top of the hour, a little bit over, splashed over. So take it in. For those that are techie types, you can always take a screen print of those three cards And on your own, if you wish, you can spend some more time with them, right? And to get even deeper information for yourself from those cards, that would be great. And if you have any insights, you can always come back here and share it with us in the comments. Okay. All right. So, whatever resonated with you, whatever felt good to you, in the information that was shared, I always say just embrace it and then watch, sense, feel, see how the energy is unfolding around you and where this information could be helpful. Okay. And if it didn't resonate with you, don't worry about it. It's okay. There's always next week's cards, and the message might be for you next week. Okay. And perhaps you're the messenger. Maybe you know somebody, or you're going to be talking to somebody and they're going to be talking about nearly the same thing. And you're going to say, I heard about that. Wait a minute. Let me share this with you. And you can just send them the recorded show. And then you're done, right? So no worries. So here's this. Tonight we have another show for you here at Star Nations, Soul Connections with Polly Jo LeBay. And her show on Wednesday nights is all about healing and divine messages. So she will lead a guided meditation in a healing meditation. And that was the intention, was always for heal the healer, because so many times we put ourselves last on the list, right? Unless it's an emergency. We're usually last on our list to pay attention to and for the healing. And so if you have anything like with Peggy, when she says it comes up and there it is again, you can always join us for that part of the show and go through the healing meditation. Bring your intention, and you're going to have your spiritual team with you, and Polly Jo and her team, they just assist you in the healing and the releasing. Okay. It's pretty powerful. If you've never been through it, it's been pretty powerful for a lot of people. And then the second half is the card draw. And everybody loves that. Get a reading from Polly Jo. Why not, right? One single card draw. That does take some time. I think the most cards she's read in one night was 55. 55 cards. 55 people. So join us. That's at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and that's on her fan page for chakra sessions. Watch for the shares and that sort of thing, and you guys can always come and join us, okay? All right. So with that, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and we'll see you back here next Wednesday for the Spiritual Roundtable, the weekly card draw, and we'll have another spiritual conversation. Until then, Bama Mina. That's Potawatomi for until we see each other again. Love you guys.